Bar chords. Ouch! 5 steps to make them easy. Bar chords can be a massive hurdle for the beginning guitarist. They're so important in terms of learning a whole wide range of music, but they can be physically challenging. So I'm going to show you how we build the bar chord in the first place, how much pressure to put on and how to do it, and then give you some tips on how to practice it. The chord we're going to work on here is the E-shaped bar chord. So it's the one based on an open E. If I play at the 3rd fret, it just becomes G major. Now, when we play open E, normally we use fingers 1, 2, and 3. What we need to get used to doing when we play the bar chords is using fingers 2, 3, and 4 to do the same chord shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to move that up, and we're going to add our first finger on the 6th string only. Keep the strings nearest the floor open, so strings 1 and 2 open. I'm going to move it up to the 3rd fret. So now my first finger's on the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. Each time these 3 fingers are still maintaining the same shape. I'm going to move to the 8th fret and then the 10th fret. And I can just move those chords around. So basically I've gone from fret 1 to 3 to 5 to 7 to 8 to 10. So I can start anywhere and play on those frets. So it's just a good idea just to mess around with that, write some music with it, just explore it. Initially it'll take a little bit of work to be able to get that shape, but what we're not doing is barring with the first finger. That's a separate step. Okay, so step 2, let's look at the first finger. So we've dealt with these 3 fingers. Now the first finger's job is to press down these 6 strings. There are a couple of tips here which will make a big difference. One of them is that you don't want your fingernail pointing out at right angles to the guitar. And the reason for that is that the side of your finger is flatter than this part. So what you want to do is tip your fingers slightly so that you're using a bit more of the side. So when I press down, I haven't got this situation where sometimes the string gets under the knuckle. It's just slightly rotated. Maybe that is pointing at 45 degrees. The fingernail's at 45 degrees now. What that also helps with is when you put the other 3 fingers down, if they're all kind of jutting out at right angles, you can't stretch quite so far. When you angle your fingers, it's easier to stretch and to reach all these frets. Okay. So just rotate that finger slightly and make sure that these fingers are allowed to stretch a bit more. Step 3 is to look at how we put pressure on the strings. And what we're going to do here is we're going to focus on the fact that if you use your biceps rather than your thumb, it's a lot easier to pull your hand onto the strings. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using the big muscles of my arm to just pull the fingers down onto the strings, and then I'm lightly pressing with my thumb. It's not all done with my thumb, and I'm not going to get cramp in my hand because of that. So I'm pulling with my arm, and then I squeeze very gently with the thumb. Okay, so basically I could play this without my thumb on at all, because what I'm doing is pulling with my arm, and the thumb is just the last little bit of pressure. Now, when you do that, of course, if I pull the guitar with my arm, this part of the guitar is going to spin round. So my right arm is just resting there, stopping it spinning. And as I say, it all comes from the biceps, so lots of pressure just to pull those fingers onto the strings. Another very important factor while we're talking about the pressure is the fact that all you're really doing is trying to pull the fingers down so that the strings touch the fret. That's all. We don't have to push our fingers so hard that they touch the wood. It's just getting the string onto the fret. Now, unless you've got very high frets, of course, when you do that, you will touch the wood. But if you focus on the fact that all you're trying to do is just get the strings to touch the frets, then mentally, I think that helps enormously in terms of how much pressure you feel that you need to put. Now, step 4 is a bit of a psychological thing, but what I want you to do is take 2 different approaches when you practice these chords. The first is to spend some time making sure that they sound nice and clear, following the steps that we talked about before. And these will take time to practice, but you know, with a system in place, you'll get there much quicker. Just focus on getting it to sound as good as you can. Okay, that's one approach, and you can spend a certain amount of time on that. I wouldn't spend hours on it. I'd do it in small bursts for day to day, but focus on making it sound good. That's the obvious part. The less obvious part is don't worry if it sounds bad. And what I mean by that is when you play a song, if, say you're doing this, okay, and it sounds like this. Okay, that, when you're playing the song, don't worry. Okay, your hand will figure it out if you give it a chance. But if every time you try and play that chord, you go, oh no, it doesn't sound good, oh, and you get frustrated with yourself, this is not going to be a recipe for success. You really just need to fight through it. But if you take those two approaches, you know, focus in your practice on getting it to sound good, but then when you play with other people, or you come to a lesson and play, or you're playing along with the song, if it doesn't sound perfect every time, don't worry, just keep going and your hand will figure it out. Okay, step 5 is just how to practice this stuff. So the first thing I'd say is practice real music or write real music. So, you know, use these chords in songs. You could take any song that you already know in open chords and adapt it to play as bar chords. Just anything, to use it, basically. There's no point in having a bar chord that you know can't apply to music. The other big part that I think will help enormously is just learning the names of the notes on the 6th string, because otherwise, you know, the beauty of bar chords is that that one chord shape is 12 chords, but only if you know where to play them. So just a quick recap, if you're not so familiar with this, the open 6th string is E, the 1st fret is F. So if I play at the 1st fret, my bar chord, where my 1st finger is, that's the root of the chord, that's the F, so that's an F major chord. 3rd fret is G, 5th fret is A, 7th fret is B, 8th fret is C, 10th fret is D. And then we're back to E again at the 12th fret. Okay, so from the open string we've got E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. The notes in between are sharps or flats, but if you learn those notes that I just went through, that'll stand you in really good stead, and then all you need to do is adapt. So if you go, oh, well, but I want F sharp, well, here's F, go 1 fret higher for F sharp. Okay. Or I'm on B, and I want B flat. Well, a flat is going to be 1 fret lower, so go from B, here's B flat. Okay. So it's just important that you have music to practice, whether you write that yourself or play other people's songs, and that you understand what those notes are. As I said before, bar chords can be challenging. With this 5-step system, you will get there much quicker. It's going to take some work still, it'll take some time. Ideally, you do this with a teacher to help you know whether you're doing it right or wrong. But this will get you there way, way quicker, and I've seen this, as I said, with hundreds of students. It makes a massive difference. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe for more videos to help you with your guitar playing. If you live in Auckland and would like help in person, get in touch, we'd love to help.